Hello. Well, today I'd like to speak about what I think are important qualities if we want to succeed in the future. The number one, really, I think we need to be curious. I am surprised by the lack of curiosity, actually. There are lots of people reinventing the wheel, while if they were doing a little bit of research, then they probably would find out fairly quickly that there are a number of things that have been done in the past or are being done at the moment, and what I see are a whole bunch of people doing the same things in a whole bunch of places. As such, not necessarily a bad thing, because they might have different approaches and different tools, different resources, and maybe somebody somewhere is going to find something. But are they going to put all that knowledge together, or is just everybody just trying to figure it out on their own? So people need to get out of their bubbles. They need to look at also different sectors. What I see very often is that even within the food and agriculture, then they stick there, they're in the dairy, or they're in the crop sector, or they look at their country. And people really need to look what's going on somewhere else, because there is a lot of knowledge to get from how people do differently, but also to learn about their successes and their failures. So curiosity, number one to me, absolutely. Second one, which I think is even more important nowadays, well, with the social media and basically all the nonsense that's in there. I don't even understand people spend a lot of time on it. But nonetheless, with all that polarization, with all this black and white thinking, with all those very aggressive fights about I'm right and you're wrong, and it's not even now I'm right and you're wrong, but now we have reached a point where I'm right, you're wrong, and because you're wrong I hate you because you dare to challenge me. No, I think this is indeed the time to challenge, and the quality I'm talking about, it's critical thinking. I think it's extremely important to basically, our default setting should be, I don't believe what you say, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You have to demonstrate to me that what you say is true, that you know what you're talking about, and that you have a solid background. Of course, that doesn't stop people from believing something crazy if that suits them, but nonetheless, I think we must not just take the things we see for granted, because we're just in a totally virtual world. No. With artificial intelligence, so the nonsense and the fallacies are just going to grow exponentially, and we're going to face the problems more and more and more. And I'm sorry if we're going to disturb people, but if we find something that seems a little odd, we have to question it, and we have to push them to show that they know what they're talking about and that is the truth. And if it's not the truth, they need to be exposed, absolutely. I'm very lucky, I have to say, that where I have studied in the agricultural university in France, because our teachers were really encouraging us. There was basically one of the themes about critical thinking, because critical thinking is the key for science. Critical thinking is about try to understand why are things like this, why are they not like that, and if I say this, or if I find something, well, is it really what it is? I have to double check. That's the core of science, that's the core of progress. Without critical thinking, we just become sheeple, and we are basically doomed. So, critical thinking, very important. Number three, to me, is pragmatism. And, well, it all kind of comes with the previous ones. But I think it's extremely important. We have pragmatism, the opposite is dogmatism. Pragmatism basically helps you when you realize that you're wrong, or that somebody has something better. Then you say, hey, I'm going to go with them. Of course, pragmatism means that you also have to have enough self-confidence that you can acknowledge that you're wrong, and that is not everybody who can do that. But it's extremely important. If we're not pragmatic, then we're going to be very rigid. we're going to try to stick to things that don't work, we're going to persist in error. And dogmatism, well, just look at all the society, the ones who are really built around a dogma, basically, they're not the ones ahead of prosperity, they're not the ones ahead of progress. They basically just, well, kind of live in the Middle Ages. So, pragmatism, extremely important quality. The fourth quality for me, and it is a little bit of a cousin of pragmatism, but it is flexibility and adaptability. As we know, basically, and like Darwin had said, it's not the strongest that survive, it's the ones who are the most adaptable. And especially in our world, with all the threats that we are facing, we need to be adaptable. We need to be able to change the way we think. We need to be able to choose new ways of doing things. And if there are opportunities, we do need to investigate them to make sure that they are indeed useful for us, and we just basically can adopt them. That, I think, is extremely important. Lack of flexibility, lack of adaptability, that is rigidity, that is basically not changing, and in a world that's changing this fast, if you don't change, you basically go extinct. That's, I think that pretty much sums it up. So let's be adaptable. Number 5. Which is also a little bit of a combination, or the result of all of that, and it's extremely essential. It's collaboration. We need to work together. I was mentioning about all those people trying to reinvent the wheel and all. At some point, yeah, we need to get together. As a species, I think we have been extremely successful because we have been able to collaborate, to be able to learn from each other. We have been able to support each other when it was needed. And we need to keep doing this. If we are, and following a little bit the trend, is all about individualism, being very, crawling back in our shells and then living in the little tribes, we're going to have more and more problems. So we need to work together, we need to solve problems together, and so we need to also understand the needs of others, because otherwise it's not going to work. Another important point, and it's a dosage of realism. And by that, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be dreaming, but in the end, we have to test what we say, what we think, what we try, to a good dose of realism. We need to figure out, okay, are we still in... Are we in the world of fantasy, or is it a real possibility? Fantasy is nice, I have plenty of it. Imagination is great, I have plenty of it. But I also like once in a while to, okay, we live in the real world, so on paper or on the screen it's very simple to have all sorts of little fantasies, and let's face it, the entertainment industry is full of it. But at some point, we live in the real world. We are biological beings, we have needs to survive. We need water, we need air, we need food, and that is what needs to be looked at. When we think of something, is it realistic? Is it going to happen? And sometimes the timing is also important. Maybe it's not going to work today, but it could work later. But we need to have that feeling of that control on does it have a chance of succeeding at some point? And I see a lot of people who, I'm a dreamer, I'm a utopian, and it's all very cute, but once in a while, you have to check. And especially when I see people dreaming about things that are physically not possible, and there are quite a few, and at the moment now, there are some people in very high places, very influential, who try to make us believe in certain things. I'm not going to go into detail, it's never going to happen. But hey, we'll see. And the last thing, seventh point for me, seventh quality, humility. I think this is extremely important, and unfortunately humility seems to be sometimes a very rare commodity. There are way too many people who have a way too big ego, and that stands in the way of success. It's not about your personal success, like I was saying, about collaboration, it's about all of us succeeding. And when we look at the challenges that we face, being able to feed a growing population, being able to to fight climate change and to be able to really, make sure that we all can have a livelihood in the end, that the species is going to be able to thrive. We must put our egos aside. It's not about individual success, and I understand in some cultures, individual success is considered as, the best thing in the world. But in the end, we all succeed together, we all fail together. I seen when I was in the business, every company claims that they have the best people, that they have the best talents, so not everybody can have the best talents and the best people, so there are a whole bunch of people who are wrong. And does it really matter? What really matters is the result. And talking about results, we can see that every quarter when companies present the results to the financial analysts, when it's good news, then it's always because of internal factors, usually because, the CEO is a genius, and because the management team is just great people with great vision, with great execution skills, etc., etc. When it goes bad, it's always external. It's always the economy is bad, or there are conflicts in the world, or the price of oil is too high. No, the reality is, unfortunately, sometimes when things go well, it's because of external factors, and the management team has not a lot of say in the success. They're just lucky because things are going in the right direction, and it's fine. Nature can wipe us out anytime, so we have to realize that we're very small, and it doesn't take much. There's enough natural disasters to prove to us that we are no gods, God knows what. So humility, to me, is very essential. Put it last on my list, but it's probably not the least one.
If you're interested in my videos, please click on the subscribe button, or you can also visit my website.